Hey guys, Puggo's Pizzeria here, back with another video, and in today's video, we will be talking about sort of a bigger, broader topic, I would say. We will be talking about why Five Nights at Freddy's is so popular. But just before the video begins, please, if you're not already, just subscribe. This video, I know it has tons of hours of editing and work put into it, a lot more than normal, so I do really hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, just why not try subscribing? So in today's video, I will be basically going over why Five Nights at Freddy's is so popular, because Five Nights at Freddy's clearly has made a huge impact with everything. So I will be going over 3 main points in this video: gameplay, lore, and fan base. From everything that I've looked at for Five Nights at Freddy's, there are smaller topics for this, but they can all be grouped into these 3 main categories. So let's start out with the very first category, which is gameplay. Now, gameplay in Five Nights at Freddy's, I would have to say, it's, especially in the early games of Five Nights at Freddy's, it's definitely one of the weaker sides of Five Nights at Freddy's. In the first game, there really wasn't too much to do, but since it was the first one, no one has seen it before, and it was kind of entertaining. You'd go through looking camera to camera, trying to find Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, making sure they weren't entering into your office, while having the extra added issue of power that you have to make sure, and you have to survive for around, I'm pretty sure each night was 5 minutes, or 15 minutes, I can't remember exactly, until 6 a.m. Now, because of this, the first game was decently entertaining. Everyone had a very good time with it, just going through all the different gameplay, seeing the new animatronics, and seeing other hidden things. It was a good game all around, and the added ultimate custom night, no, not ultimate, just normal custom night, at the end of the game once you beat all the normal nights. So the gameplay in the first game was pretty good. Now the gameplay in the second game, it was, I would say it was alright, and the fans, I'm pretty sure, will agree. So the gameplay in this game, it was very similar to Five Nights at Freddy's. I guess you could say this game tried to feel like Five Nights at Freddy's Extra, because it was meant to be Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and I could tell Scott Cawthon was really riding off the hype of this wave. But that it definitely is not me saying that this is a bad game. I personally really like Five Nights at Freddy's 2. All the new animatronics that they introduced, this game definitely is a lot less boring than the previous game, but also a lot less scary. The game is more entertaining with more animatronics and different things you have to fend off, but I feel like there's so much you have to fend off, the game sort of loses its scare factor. I'd say on the first few nights, like probably nights 1, 2, and 3, it's really not too scary because you only have to it's more scary because you only have to fend off a few characters, so the dread sort of sets in. But on the later nights, you really sort of get kept up in, making sure everything is alright, so defending all the animatronics definitely can be a difficult task in this game, but the gameplay in this game, while kind of challenging, definitely a lot more fun than the first game. But Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Now, this is just my opinion, okay? Opinion alert. So, this is just my opinion, but FNF 3 has probably the most boring gameplay out of all the games. So, but I'll try not to let that affect this. I personally just not a huge fan of FNF 3's gameplay. No, I like the other things, I just don't really like the gameplay. So in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, I'm pretty sure as most of you know, you only have to fend off one animatronic known as Springtrap. He goes throughout the location, and what you have to do is basically, you have to go through and use audio lures to get him to go back to the first part of the restaurant. It's sort of a maze area, I would say, as Springtrap makes his way trying to reach towards your office. It is kind of entertaining, but in the later nights when you have to really be worried about the amount of audio lures that you can use, which really doesn't make too much sense. I don't know why the audio lure would run out. That doesn't really make sense at all. If you really think about it, how does that make sense? A digital thing can sort of just run out after a few uses when you could use it unlimited times before? Really doesn't make sense. Springtrap can enter your office through 2 ways, either through the side door, the big opening right there, or through the vents. So you either have to close the vents or use the audio cues to get him back in his place, but you also have the added difficulty of monitoring the things such as ventilation and the power system. You have to keep rebooting that, but in FNAF 3, there is no power system. I'm now realizing that FNAF 2 did have a power system, but FNAF VR, FNAF 2 and FNAF VR, didn't have a power system. So in FNAF 3, there was no need to worry about power in this game at all, which definitely takes some ease off the game. So while you don't have to worry about power, you have to worry about hallucinations. You will randomly start hallucinating and see different types of the old animatronics from the first 2 games in your office as phantoms. While these phantoms can't kill you, they definitely will distract you, and it gives Springtrap sort of a speed boost to get into your office. Overall, I would say the gameplay is definitely a pretty fun game, but it does get repetitive kind of fast. Now the next game after that is Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Now this game introduced way new types of gameplay. First of all, it being not in a office and not taking place in a pizzeria, but taking place in a child's bedroom. Now Five Nights at Freddy's 4, the gameplay, I would say also in this game, is a bit lackluster. And mainly in this game, it's more repetitive than boring, because you just gotta sort of check 4 areas. Now that is the same in the other games. This game, you don't have cameras to check. You check door, closet, bed, things like that, and it can get very repetitive. So this is something to sort of look out for in this game. The other gameplay in this game, it's definitely sort of confusing, I would say. The animatronics at the door, you have to listen for their breathing, because that makes sense. You have to check for the Freddles behind the bed, check Foxy in the closet, and then in the later nights, check for Fredbear and Nightmare Fredbear, and then you also have to check in the Halloween DLC for, Night Marionette. But this game is sort of similar to Five Nights at Freddy's 1, how, Nightmare Bonnie or Classic Bonnie comes from the left side, Nightmare Chica or Classic Chica comes from the right side. You can't really see Freddy, unless in FNF 4 if you turn around, and Foxy is sort of in the closet, like he was in the Pirate's Cove before. Now this game doesn't really have any sort of Easter eggs, I would say, like Golden Freddy in Five Nights at Freddy's 1. It still has other Easter eggs, but they're definitely not as exciting or lore-inducing as Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Now, Sister Location, this really completely changed the gameplay in Five Nights at Freddy's. This is basically the first game, like, where you would get to move around. Now, in Five Nights at Freddy's 4, I know you'd move around, but you were moving around in a single bedroom, so that doesn't really count. But in Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location, each night for the gameplay, basically, you would go down into the, Circus Baby's Pizza and Rentals underground, and, you would go down, and you'd have sort of different tasks for each night. While each of these tasks were a little bit repetitive, the gameplay in this game definitely was very fun. This game had so much voice acting. It was just extremely fun to play, all the different animatronics you had to see. So, I'm not super caught up, honestly, on the gameplay. I did do a lot of research for making of this video. I did sort of, I made sort of a script for this video, but I can't really remember what Sister Location's gameplay was, so you're gonna have to sort of bear with me here. There will be gameplay of it in the background so you can see, but I'm pretty sure on the first night, what you have to do is you have to defend against Biddy Bab in the Circus Baby Auditorium. Now, this is pretty entertaining to have to pull the thing closed under the desk as Biddy Bab looks through you with the creepy little eyes under the desk. That is a very scary thing to see, but it's overall not too hard to do in a very easy first night. Now, I'm pretty sure, if I can remember correctly, Funtime Foxy is the second night. You have to walk through the, Funtime Foxy Auditorium to get to sort of, the parts and service area. And, basically, what you have to do is you have to walk and stop, and walk and stop. Make sure Funtime Foxy doesn't hear you, and then you also have to use your flash. No, Funtime Foxy, she's light activated, unlike Ballora. Sorry, I'm getting a few things confused. There's a lot for me to remember. So, yes, what you have to do with Funtime Foxy is you have to make sure you don't flash your light beacon too much, but you also have to flash enough to make sure you don't run into Funtime Foxy. But once you make it through that, then you go on to the third night. And the third night is, basically, what you have to do is you have to work on Funtime Freddy. No, you don't actually fully work. I'm getting confused with things. I'm actually pretty sure in the Funtime Auditorium, you walk all the way to the back, then you have to work on Funtime Freddy, take all the chips out and fend off Bonbon using a flashlight. That part is very entertaining, but still hard. And then once you do that, you have to walk all the way back through the Funtime Auditorium, but I'm pretty sure you're purposely meant to get jump scared near the end, but you still complete the night. Then the third night, you have to go in sort of the breaker circuit room with Funtime Freddy, and you have to sort of fuel up a whole bunch of things or add power to them, sort of like in Among Us, but you also have to watch out for Funtime Freddy and Bonbon, make sure they don't attack you while you're there. Now on the fourth night, this has to deal with Ballora, and what you have to do is you're sort of in the Springlock Mini-Rena suit, and this night is unbearably hard, one of the hardest Five Nights at Freddy's things you could ever do, probably even some people could argue the hardest. So what you have to do is you're in sort of the spring-lock suit that Ballora put you there, and these mini Renas, they crawl into the spring-lock suit, and you have to make sure to wind up the spring locks as they walk into the suit so they don't really mess it up. Occasionally you'll have to shake off the mini Renas on your screen, but shaking them off will cause it'll cause the spring locks to loosen more, and if one spring lock loosens, you basically lose for that night. But you also have to make sure there's not too many mini arenas up on your screen, because then otherwise you'll be jump scared by them. The gameplay in this game is very entertaining, and of course in the final night is when you have to sort of do something with Baby. I'm pretty sure you have to walk through Baby as she leads you different places. You can either go the correct way and go to the scoop room and then you get scooped out there, or you can go the other way to actually find a Five Nights at Freddy's style office where you have to fight off Ennard from getting into your office and fend off until 6 a.m., which is basically, a reference to all the other Five Nights at Freddy's games. The gameplay in this game is extremely fun. Different things to do every night, different entertaining things to do. You meet new animatronics, get whole different gameplay things they have to learn each night. A very fun game, and the gameplay, I would say, in this game is absolutely phenomenal. Now, I know you may be saying, but Puggo, you forgot about FNAF World. Well, I'm actually not including FNAF World in this. I know you FNAF World fans, trust me, FNAF World is my favorite Five Nights at Freddy's game of all time. I did make a separate video on FNAF World of why it's the best Five Nights at Freddy's game, so go watch that if you want to. But I'm not including that, because this is the least popular Five Nights at Freddy's game. While I know people like it, including myself and Dawko, most people hated this game, and it really sort of, it definitely didn't help the franchise get more popular, so that is why I'm not including it. But, of course, if you want to hear my thoughts on it, I did make another video talking about it. Now, the next game after that is definitely also one of my favorites, FNAF 6. Or Five Nights at Freddy's Pizzeria Simulator. Now, Five Nights at Freddy's Pizzeria Simulator, again, this gameplay completely changed everything. So first, the gameplay starts off as it looks like a troll game. You're an 8-bit Freddy holding a cake, and you have to throw pizzas at these children while a Shadow Freddy tries to block you. Eventually, on the 3rd or 4th level, it starts to glitch out, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're transported to a salvage area with Circus Baby, and no matter what you do, she speaks to you, and then I'm pretty sure she jump scares you, if I'm not wrong. It is a very creepy moment, and I know I was 100% terrified when I first saw this a few years ago when it came out for Five Nights at Freddy's 6, but the gameplay, of course, I have to break the gameplay up into 2 parts for this, because there's 2 major things for gameplay in this. So, the first part of gameplay is the actual Pizzeria Simulator part. You make money each day, and you have to use that to, go through, and you have to actually, buy things for your pizzeria, try and make more money the next day, try and become a successful entrepreneur, do different things, buy different items. You have to decide what you want to buy with different factors, deciding if you want to, sell off your pizzeria for ad space, but then that'll come back to haunt you later when you're actually doing the nighttime areas. So this is a very fun thing to do, and just buying all the parts of this, honestly, it's my favorite part of Pizzeria Simulator. The other parts of Pizzeria Simulator definitely aren't the best, but the actual simulator part where you buy all the things, make your whole pizzeria, is absolutely phenomenal, and I love to replay just building my own pizzeria multiple times over again. So the other part of the gameplay is the salvage parts. Basically, after you do all your work at the pizzeria, you go and look in the back alley, and you find a new animatronic that you salvage each night. Every time you can either choose to salvage the animatronic, and you get money if you salvage it correctly, or you can either throw it back into the alley. If you choose to salvage it, you do get money each night from salvaging it, increasingly more money from each one you salvage, but it comes at a cost because it definitely will come back to haunt you later. So, of course, there's the 4 animatronics that you salvage: Funtime Freddy, Scrap Trap, Lefty, and Scrap Baby. Now, all these animatronics to salvage are extremely terrifying. Just seeing them sit right in front of you, it is a very, very scary sight to see. But you salvage all of them, and you can either get money. Basically, you have to, look up at your really oversized piece of paper, and every time you look up at it, sometimes they can move, and you have to zap them. But if you zap them more than 2 times, their value goes down, so you definitely want to keep track of how much you are actually zapping them. But then on to the third part of the gameplay, the actual surviving gameplay. So every time you salvage a new animatronic, they get added to the parts of the gameplay that actually attack you. So you're in an office with a monitor, and basically you have to remotely do things for your pizzeria, such as cleaning the toilets with the press of a button. So that's really cool. You probably have your little baby slaves come out and they clean your toilets for you. But if you do choose to salvage the animatronics, you do have to do all those tasks, but you also have the worry about the animatronics crawling through the vents and getting to you. That's the only way the animatronics can get to you is through the vents, so you have to use audio lures and turn off your ventilation and different things so they don't actually reach up to you, so you can stay safe, make it to the end. Of course, there's also many different exciting things for gameplay in this game, such as 4 different animatronic achievements you can get from getting all the animatronics and placing them on your stage, and 6 different lore achievements, but I will talk about that later. Then, after that, of course, there's Ultimate Custom Night, definitely one of the most entertaining Five Nights at Freddy's games, but I can't say too much about it just because there isn't too much. Basically, it's a giant custom night. You can choose basically any single animatronic that was ever in Five Nights at Freddy's, minus a few who are sadly missing. Miss you, Candy Cadet. And basically you choose what they do. They each do a different sort of ability, something like that, and you have to just fend them off. You can choose the which characters you want and the difficulty you want them at, and honestly, this game is for you to make your own entertainment. You can, make it really easy by just having Helpy attack you, or you can make it really hard by completing 50-20 mode. There's not too much gameplay in this game, but it's still a very fun game. Now, the game after that is Five Nights at Freddy's VR, in my opinion, the most fun FNAF game. Now, Five Nights at Freddy's VR, there's so many different fun things to do. I'm pretty sure you already know all of them because I mainly use it as my background, just because it's even entertaining to watch. So in Five Nights at Freddy's VR, of course, you can play FNAF 1, 2, and 3 remastered, basically FNAF 1, 2, and 3, except it looks a lot cleaner, you're in VR, and all the animatronics have full animations, and it's really scary, but it's really cool. Also, you have other things such as repairing animatronics, going into the vents with Mangle and Ennard, doing the dark time modes in the FNAF 4 bedroom, either fighting off FNAF 4 animatronics or sister location animatronics, and then there's other things you can do, like in the Halloween DLC, there's, the Foxy ride, other things such as the plush babies, a whole bunch of different things you can do, and honestly, this game is one of the most fun games out there. There's so many different things you can do in this game, so many different levels, and just entertaining things all over. This game is packed to the brim, and then it even has the added bonus of trying to collect all the items from the prize corner in this game. Every time you beat a level, you get either a new prize item or an old one, and one of the goals is to sort of collect all these prize items, which is very fun to do, and also searching through all the levels for coins to actually, get some of the new prize items. Now, basically, the final Five Nights at Freddy's game it's Five Nights at Freddy's AR. Now, this game, I would have to say for gameplay, there's some very good gameplay and some very bad gameplay. Now, overall, I'd say the gameplay in this game is absolutely phenomenal. Having, looking around for all the different animatronics, fending them off, they each sort of have their own mechanic, using the light to find the fuzz in your room, like the sort of staticky area, when they run at you, either zapping them or like putting on a mask or something like that. There's a whole bunch of different gameplay you can do in this game, but the gameplay definitely does get lackluster when you're trying to get all the skins. Having to defeat Springtrap 4 times, that's really unbearable to try and get each skin each time like that. So there definitely is some gameplay that I would improve in this game, because honestly, it is a little bit boring. What do you do once you get all the animatronics? You sort of just have them. They sort of just stay there. There's not too much of a point of collecting all of it, but I guess that is the point, to collect all of them. Well, I'm pretty sure I can't say too much for the Five Nights at Freddy's, I can't say too much for the Five Nights at Freddy's, like, for FNAF Security Breach, because there's no really gameplay yet, so let's move on to the lore. Now, I realized I did spend quite a while talking about all the gameplay for these games, so the lore, it's, well, we'll just see how it goes, because I'm pretty sure, as most of you know, there's a squiggle-diggle bunch of lore in all the Five Nights at Freddy's games. So let's start off with the first one. I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up. I do have a full lore video that's over half an hour long, talking about all the lore in Five Nights at Freddy's. So I'm most likely going to talk about the main points of lore in all these games. And remember, this isn't going over everything in the game. This is talking about why Five Nights at Freddy's is popular and going over what makes it popular. So, of course, the lore would make all the games popular. One of the main reasons I would say I keep coming back to the FNAF is trying to solve the mysteries from it. There's so much different lore, so many different things to find about Five Nights at Freddy's. Truly, it is a endless wonderland with the lore. There's so many different things you can do, so many mysteries we haven't solved yet. Other people like Game Theory and Dawko, they try and solve the mysteries. Sometimes they do, sometimes they can't. There's still so many questions we have to be answered. Now, of course, each game has tons of lore, so I'll be going over all the lore in the games. So, starting off with the first game, all the lore that we basically get is from the phone guy phone calls, telling us about sort of the Bite of 87, and I'm pretty sure the Springlock suits. There's also the newspaper posters that appear up on the walls, where you can see all the lore there about missing children's incident, and the animatronics reeking of blood and mucus. And then, of course, there's Golden Freddy, who can randomly appear in your office and crash your game, so that definitely has some lore to do with it. While there isn't too much lore in this game, it definitely did set up this whole game's future for the lore. Now, the second game did definitely have a lot more lore. While I'd say most of the lore from this game came from the cutscenes, such as when you're in the Freddy suit and like you're on the stage and the characters look at you, or through the minigames, such as when the purple guy comes up and kills the child, or you're the puppet giving life to the children. There's tons of lore in this game, such as also the puppet with the music box, the shadow animatronics, the withered animatronics, the toy animatronics, Mangle. There truly is so much lore in this game, and still so many unanswered questions from this one. While Five Nights at Freddy's 3 doesn't have the most lore in the actual game, all of the lore in this game comes from the mini-games, and trust me, there is a ton, such as BB's Air Adventure or the fixing up Mangle with the parts. There is so much different lore you can find in this game, such as finding a hidden minigame, then breaking that minigame, then breaking that minigame, then breaking that minigame, or going in and finding the purple guy and then getting torn apart by him each night by becoming a different animatronic, or the Foxy Go 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 minigame, such as Foxy running into a room and then it turns out it's full of dead children. There truly is so much lore in this game, and definitely without this game, I feel like we wouldn't know all this lore just because Scott would have revealed it in a different way. So the lore in this game, I would have to say, is absolutely perfect. Now in Five Nights at Freddy's 4, of course, all the lore comes from the actual minigames. There's barely any lore in the actual gameplay, of course. There is a little bit, such as Nightmare Fredbear, or the Nightmare, or in the sort of cutscenes where you can see the pill bottle and things like that on the side of your bed, and of course, like the alarm clock, some things like that. There's sort of minor lore, but the major lore comes from each day, each like minigame. So in each minigame, you play as the actual crying child, and you go through each day saying sort of things like tomorrow is another day, or I'm waiting until my party, something like that. And basically you go through different sort of days in the child's life. It really seems like he has a bad life. You're either wandering through your house with the Fredbear plushie monitoring you, telling you what to do, until you overall get scared by your little brother, or you're stuck in Fredbear's family diner, and you're trying to run out until you get cornered by a mascot, by like the Fredbear mascot, someone wearing him. There's truly so much lore in this game, including, you know, the Bite of 87. So there's just so much different lore in this game, but there's still so many unanswered mysteries, such as what character do we play as, what's in the box, what do the Nightmare animatronics mean, who even is Nightmare, is the Halloween DLC canon, what does Plush Trap do, is all of this even a dream? So there really is tons and tons and tons of unanswered mysteries from this, but it is still one of the great games for lore, and honestly, the lore in this game, it's really something. Now, Sister Location definitely doesn't have the most lore. There are no mini-games in Sister Location, except for one, I'll talk about that, but most of the lore definitely comes from the gameplay. We sort of know who you play as, you know, we know the character you play as, we know you play as Michael Afton, and you go down into Sister Location to try and save your little sister, because her soul is stuck in Baby. But how did her soul get stuck in Baby? From the one minigame in this game, and that is, like, Circus Baby's Pizza Adventure. I don't really know what it's called. I know it might have a name, but I'm not too sure. So basically, you play a circus baby, and you have to throw cupcakes to children, and when you get to the very end, there's an ice cream cone you can get, and if you run all the way back and place it at the finish, and place it at the beginning, William Afton, I'm pretty sure her name, Elizabeth Afton comes out, she goes to take the ice cream cone, and then Baby comes, and she just slurps her right up, she goes, bye-bye. So, she gets slurped up by that, and then, that's the lore of basically how Elizabeth Afton, controls and possesses Baby. So you go through each night trying to do different things, and of course there's different lore with zapping the animatronics, their voice lines, what they reveal, and of course with the Ultimate Custom Night in FNF6 Location, there's so much lore with that. It truly is a great game for lore, and just, other things overall in general. Now the lore in Five Nights at Freddy's 6, it's extremely heavy. I would say it's even heavier than your mom. Whoa, got him! So, the lore in this game, basically, the lore when you're actually, the lore, I keep saying the lore, because this game, it has a lot of it, I don't even know where to start. So, first of all, the lore with all the endings, when you get all the endings, there's a whole bunch of different endings you can get, but one of the biggest endings you can get is using the the egg baby data archive, and you use that, and you place that in your restaurant, and then you press the button on your monitor, and you, reset it, and then it reveals blueprints for the scooper, baby, and other things, showing that you sort of either planned these items or built them, or something like that. I'm not too sure what these blueprints mean yet, but there's definitely other things. So, there's this, but then there's other things, such as the animatronics that you salvage, the mini-games in this game, such as playing Midnight Racer, or the, Fruity Maze. There's other things you can do, such as, Candy Cadet stories, or just the animatronics in general, like, where did they come from, where did they go, where did they come from, Cotton Eye Joe? So, there's, so much lore in this game that is really heavy, and of course, I don't want to talk about all this, because I'm not trying to talk about the lore too much. There's so much lore you could talk about. As I've said, I already made a video that's over half an hour long talking about the lore, so go watch that if you want to. It's definitely a very good one. So, now the lore in FNAF VR. Now, the lore, I would say, in FNAF VR, compared to the other games, the lore in this game is very light. It's light and tidy. So, basically, all the lore in this game is the tapes. You go throughout the game, and you have to try and collect the tapes, from this one, tape girl, who says it's how, there's a glitch in the game, and that's Glitch Trap. Basically, William Afton was transported as a, chip, and it was put into this game. They copied the code from it, so some of William Afton's soul was in the code, and then the code was added to this game, so now he's in the game, possessing, taking the form of Glitch Trap. And Tape Girl, what she does is she tries to make all these tapes to warn you about it, but it turns out Glitch Trap stuck himself to the tapes, and then Glitch Trap eventually also possessed the Tape Girl and this other guy named Jeremy. So, they do all that, and eventually, in the end, no matter what ending you get to this game, you get possessed by Glitch Trap, because he comes and he takes over you, and now he has a mortal form, and you're sort of stuck in that game forever, I guess. And there is some other smaller lore, like how all the games in Five Nights at Freddy's are canon, so FNAF 1 is canon in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe. That's very confusing. I don't know why Scott added that detail, but it's kind of cool, I guess. Now, the lore in Five Nights at Freddy's AR, there's basically none of it. They tried to do lore with the, emails and stuff, and trust me, that didn't really work, though I don't know what they were trying to talk about with the lore. It didn't make sense. They were trying too hard, so eventually they stopped. No new emails. They were making lore, and then they realized they didn't know what they were doing, so they stopped making lore, and I'm very excited to see all the lore in the newest game, Security Breach. Trust me, there's going to be tons of lore in that. Very exciting. Now, the final thing is the fan base. Also, I do realize I haven't been talking about Freddy in Space, just because that game, it's sort of a charity game. I don't really count it as a Five Nights at Freddy's game, sort of just a bonus, I guess. So, I think definitely the main thing that keeps Five Nights at Freddy's popular and alive is the fan base. How could it not? A fan base can basically be the thing that either keeps or ruins a game, and while I can definitely say the fan base has definitely ruined this game quite a bit, definitely made it very questionable, it still keeps the game alive. The fan base inspired Scott Cawthon to do the books, and with all the books, he definitely has, inspired himself a lot. First he started off with the 3 main books, but now he's doing all the Fazbear fights, and trust me, the fans absolutely love those, including myself. I get very excited whenever I see Doggo post a book review. Trust me, it shivers me timbers, and I just get so excited to see it, because the fans really support it. All the true fans support Scott Cawthon and everything he does, but if they don't like something such as FNAF World, they tell him. They don't act like they like it, they don't fake it, and Scott completely takes all the criticism, and he knows what to make. He tries to do something good, and he doesn't try to, defend himself like Yonder Dev does. So, Scott Cawthon is overall a great guy, and he can always appease the fanbase, such as donating nearly millions of dollars to charities, taking fan feedback and putting it into the games, and constantly giving us new teasers and things that we actually ask for. It's truly amazing. And also, Scott doing all the things with, well, I'd say for the fanbase, the merch really does help it. Honestly, I really wouldn't be too much into Five Nights at Freddy's if it wasn't for the merch that Funko makes. Even though I do hate on Funko a lot, I do truly love them. I love all the merch they made. I don't think their merch will ever truly be bad. If their merch actually sucked, like I do say it does, I just like sort of criticizing their merch. If it really was that bad, would I buy it? No, but I did buy it because overall, at the end of the day, I am always slightly happy with whatever Funko makes. If it's the Security Breach plush, I go, yeah, that's okay. But then they go and release something like Freddy Frostbear or Security Puppet, and I see that and I'm like, wowzers, my trousers. That's truly amazing. So the fan base is definitely something that I feel like just really can keep this game alive and going. Well, it looks like that's going to be it. I hope this sort of answered your question for why Five Nights at Freddy's is popular. Now, this was a half-an-hour video, and I can trust you. No, you can trust me. This video took absolutely ages to edit, and I don't even know why I put this much time into a video, but I do. It's because I love you. So, in case you aren't already, please subscribe. You literally just watched me for half an hour, so what are you doing not subscribing? But, yeah, that's it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoy. Just to go over again, the main things that keep Five Nights at Freddy's alive is the gameplay. Each game has interesting and fun gameplay. The lore. All the lore and all the mysteries, all the fans want to know, that's why they keep coming back. And the fan base. The fan base always keeps the games alive, supporting it with different things that Skull Coughlin gives us. But yeah, that's it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoy. Yeah, subscribe and all that yada yada. Also join the Discord if you're still watching. But yeah, that's it for today's video, and I will see you all later. Goodbye!